July 2023 video horoscopes for the 12 signs with me, Lada, from Astrolada.com. I'm so excited. July, we have some of the most karmic configuration in the sky. Pluto, which is considered the planet that governs the evolution of the soul and the evolutionary path, and the most karmic and fatal and fated events will square the karmic nodes, which are considered the north node is the true north of the soul, the new karma soul has to create. The south node is the past karma soul has to create. So some very pivotal fated karmic events will happen, like the universe is no longer waiting for you to make up your mind. It's giving you consequences of your actions and is realigning you to the path that is most appropriate for your soul, whether you're ready or no. So some events that I'll say for each sign what these events will be will trigger a specific big consciousness shift and realigning of your karmic direction and the karmic path in life for your soul during the next month, July and into August. And we'll speak what events this can be for each one of you. But something pivotal, very important is happening, guys, and Venus is turning retrograde, but helping this process with a trine. So I'm very excited for this month. And before I start, Nikola Stojanovic, my past teacher, the late Nikola Stojanovic, his books are still not out. His daughter is trying to publish them. He's the most genius astrologist who ever lived. But we're releasing all his courses, 9 courses for a discounted price, or you can choose just 3 of his courses in a package and get them. This is part of my Lada's Top Picks that continues the whole till October 2023, where I recommend you the best astrology courses and the themes, and Nikola Stojanovic is for everything. I mean, if you want to do astrology like a magician, like a psychic almost, check out those courses. I cannot recommend them enough. And of course I do Q&A live once per month for each group till October. If you have questions for every new package of course I recommend. So thank you. Let's begin July. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, July 2023. Leo, it's getting fiery hot and you're gonna love it because you're a fire sign. The nodes of the moon, the north node, is moving into fiery areas for the first time in 19 years. So it's going to be making a direct aspect. The nodes, most powerful aspect of the node, except the house it is in, the conjunction, is the trine. So the north node will be directly helping Leo for the next year and a half, for 18 months. With what does the north node bring? Passion, excitement. It enhances whatever element it goes into. So your fire will start burning brighter. You become way more adventurous because the north node loves to take risks, loves to try new things, to experiment, and it's in this very adventurous 9th house that it's entering and will stay for 18 months for you. And what can you expect? Maybe not immediately from July, but over the next year and a half. All of you at some point, if you're Leo rising or Leo sun as well, or even Leo moon to some degree, are going to experience this 9th house activation of the north node. So definitely willing to, the 9th house is the world out there that you don't know about. The 9th house is anything that is foreign, anything that is unknown, anything that is exciting. And you're going to take an adventure. For some of it will be literal. Some of you will start traveling or even relocate to a foreign culture, immerse yourself, because Uranus rules anything foreign. 9th house is faraway places and travels. So, and not Uranus, the north node. And the north node is full of passion and desire. So your strong desire will manifest for you. Your strong desire to explore the world, to learn new cultures, will very likely manifest for many of you. And again, as I said, for some of you, it can even mean relocation to a foreign country. For example, the north node, when I had north node traveling my 9th house, I was traveling every month somewhere to a culture I've never seen before. You can also notice that new people will enter your life that are very likely not from your local environment, like the people that you've studied with, your workmates, your neighbors. No, you would be interested, and you would attract people from beyond, maybe from a different state, maybe from a different cultural background, maybe people that have a very different social standing than you. Ninth house rules people that are more erudite, more intellectual. You would become quite desirous to mingle in such circles that are more academic or more spiritual or more knowledgeable, more cultured, more elite. Not in that way show off, but more cultured, more refined, philosophical, higher minded. And you might gain access. Rahu, the North Node, always gains access. Even if you've never been in such environments, the North Node gets access wherever it wants to be. Just like the mythology says that the North Node was a demonic energy and it wanted to become immortal. So it pretended, turned into a beautiful woman, distracted the gods, and drank the juice of immortality. So it became immortal god even before it was ready. So in the same way, the North Node fakes it till it makes it, gets thrown into situation where the person is not even ready for, but takes them to the next level socially, financially, economically, and not even the next level, takes him a few levels above. So Rahu definitely makes us more adventurous when it strongly affects us, like it will be affecting Leo and Sagittarius, the other fire sign. From the ninth house, it would also allow you to, it will make you be open not only to foreign cultures, to experience them, but to any new beliefs. So you might start studying some new philosophy. You might change your religion. I've seen this as well. Explore. So if you're born in Asia, you might explore Christianity, for example, or you might explore Indian traditions and cultural beliefs. Not only cultural beliefs, but the ninth house is also the spiritual beliefs and the whole worldview. So there is something will change in your perspective. Something very new and foreign will enter there. Of course, the North Node has its dangerous side because it can be seductive and misleading. So you can be seducted by charismatic role models and teacher figures and unusual lifestyles that you want to experience. And sometimes that can, let's say, take us down on a less moral path, but the North Node is not at all concerned with morality. It's concerned with experience, trying new things, experimenting, no matter what the cost is. Again, remember that the North Node can seduce us into something that is not truthful sometimes. Just to keep this in mind as part of the energy of the North Node. But you definitely will start feeling that you get excited about some belief system or about some new lifestyle or about some new doctrine or about some new philosophy of life, new lifestyle. You'd become passionate to travel, to study something new. And that's for a year and a half, this energy will be very strong with you. So if you want to study something, now it will be the time. Because after that, unless you have strong ninth house energy by birth, it might dwindle because once the North Node moves away from a place, that passion and excitement, which is not typical for that area, goes away with it. But sometimes we need this little burst that the North Node gives us, this little burst that can excite us into a new direction, new philosophy, new beliefs. And you can realize that you know a lot more things at the end of this. You might have a new degree, or you might have reached or received a degree in a direction, or even started to study some course or higher knowledge that is way above your head or that is way different. I started actually even my first teaching stint started around that time as well. So you can, if you're working or living any ninth house areas, like in your career, if you're a teacher, if you are an advisor, consultant, if you are a life coach, if you're an astrologer, anyone who gives advice to others, helps them figure out the future or the new trends. You can be a business consultant as well, that are trying to help others figure out new trends and future directions. Any career or action that involves predicting future trends in some way is the ninth house, or seeing the bigger picture in some way, or helping others, guiding them, directing them, or even a traditional guide in a, if you're involved with teaching of anything, if you're involved in academia, if you're involved in any way with astrology, higher knowledge, or if you're involved in traveling abroad or import, export, anything to do with foreign places, you can have a huge boost to your career now. To your, because Rahu, whatever it goes, makes you very charismatic there, can make you very successful, and even gives you success before you're ready for, and throw you into the wolves in that area, in a sense, even before you're ready, throw you to teach something or push you to change something in a big way, to introduce something new. But if you're in any of those businesses or careers that we talk ninth house, you become more voracious, you can become way more successful, and so on. And the North Node in the ninth house is very much wants you to carve out time of your life for a year and a half where you follow your own advice and intuition. The ninth house is your own fiery intuition, and in areas in particular, rather than listening to what others are telling you, because wherever the south node goes, it weakens that area. It's not necessarily bad to weaken an area in a life for a little bit, maybe to put it at the background for a little bit. It doesn't mean forever, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that for a little bit that area takes a secondary steps back, so this area gets developed. And the area that steps back is the third house for you, Leo. Third house is anything to do with, always relying on those around you, for example, to tell you, what should I do, or brainstorming, or what do the people around me do, I will do it. Because now the North Node asks you to take your own unique path, to develop your own belief systems different than others, to take your own high counsel and intuition, what is the right direction, rather than listen to what others are telling you, because that's a social house. Third house, your colleagues, your people in your social environment, your siblings, your relatives, they might think one thing is good for you, you might have, but then if you want to have faster success, because the North Node gives that, even though it has some traps there in the North Node, this kind of deceptive energy where it has obsessive a little bit, it can give much faster developments if you go that way. That's why we call our true north, my true north. Because even in astrology and mythology, we know wherever the north is, that's where the gods live. Wherever the south is, and the North Node is always the south point of the crossing of the ecliptic of the moon with the earth, is where the kind of the lower astral energies are. But anyway, the south node is very spiritual point as well. And it has a sacrificial energy. So you might have to sacrifice or release or let go of certain social contacts. Or you might even get disinterested and apathetic towards such involvement. So if you're always reading the news, always on social media, which is very third house activity, always gossiping what's happening, wanting to know what's happening, it's like you might abandon this for some time. Like you'd not want your mind to be influenced by what others think, and to be distracted, because the third house is the house of distractions, hobbies, interests, wasting your time a little bit. Oh, well, for some people it's important to do this for some time. But when the North Node is in the South Node, you want to let go a little bit of, maybe delete a few accounts, remove some subscriptions as well. Third house rules all of those things that busy our mind, busy our consciousness. And go more into intuition, into a mode of higher knowledge, of higher wisdom, of spiritual practices as well. Your intuitive voice can be highly stimulated when the North Node is there. While the other chatter, the monkey brain, is the third house. This is what the South Node can help you release and relax and let go of somehow, in a way. But you might have, for example, there might be like that you're letting go of relationship with a sibling leaves, or there's a crisis in the relationships with workmates or teammates or friends or People from the past can appear as well. The South Node is considered the past and past lifetimes and things about unfinished business. Third house is social house of communication. So there might be some relationships. We're not talking sexual relationship. We're talking like everyday experiences, people in your life that reappear to be completed and karmically, let's say, released. That's what the South Node does. Put, what's that called? Closure to. Another thing you can do, you can find yourself less interested in all these distractions of the mind, television, news, social media, even purposefully like letting it go, renouncing it. South Node is very renouncing energy. That will do you good. So your mind can roam, or you can immerse yourself in foreign lands and cultures or higher knowledge of some sort and kind of block out the distractions. But sometimes we can feel a little bit doubtful about our information when the South Node transits the third house. We might doubt like everything that I've known till now as facts. It starts breaking down, or it starts not serving us, so we start finding that we can't rely on that facts and information. That's why we have to go and explore new knowledge, new territory, new perspective, because we start to see that the facts in everyday life arrangement is breaking down for us. So we need to explore either very different lifestyle or very different belief systems, because the ones that we've been using till now, like in our everyday reality, feels unfulfilling or feels emptier somehow. And it might be on the positive side, the South Node in the third house, because it's very psychic energy. You can channel information sometimes in communications. You can almost like without, how do I say, your mind can be channeling without thinking, in a sense. All right, so there's a lot of things I can tell about this influence. Sometimes the South Node in the third house, you can have problems with vehicles, with computers, laptops. For this 1.5 years, be a bit more careful. They're more easy to break, to have, some kind of losses there. It is the South Node after all. Okay, while the North Node there, it might be good to do foreign investments or research of new things and so on. But this fiery energy in you enhance your ability to take own initiatives, and the ninth house is house of self-development. You can get crazy about taking self-development courses for higher knowledge and so on. But at the same time, this July in particular, you'd feel something very powerful the whole month. Pluto, the most karmic planet that shows the soul's evolution, will be squaring the nodes in your third and ninth house the whole month and even into August. So it's a rare aspect, and it's very karmic aspect that culminates into crisis. Some crisis can happen in your life that align you to the right karmic path though. So even if it's stressful, even if it feels fated, and even if it feels scary, because the Pluto energy is not only karmic, but it's kind of like, it feels like fatalistic a little bit. That's it, it's fatal. I'm not saying death necessarily, but Pluto is the skip step. And because it's squaring the nodes, whatever planet squares the nodes, it's a skip step that we need to make up for or compensate or become aware of. Now in July, it's coming from the sixth house, maybe something that will be pivotal for this shift in consciousness that the nodes want to introduce in yourself, because the ninth house is higher consciousness, the third house is normal everyday consciousness and perception of reality. Well, it might happen through Pluto. There might be some kind of crisis that shifts how you perceive reality, and that can even help you jump on a higher, because Rahu is something that you can jump a few steps above before you're already on a higher state of consciousness. To some extreme cases, some of you can have some kind of experiences that might be triggered by a crisis, or Pluto rules the Kundalini as well, that can trigger you into a higher state of consciousness in the higher mind. The ninth house is higher mind, higher perspective, to see something from a very different point of view than before, to get the third house is the forest. The South Node is like, stop being in the forest anymore. Just like watching at the trees. You can't see the path. The North Node wants to pull you out on top of the tallest tree or on the wings of an eagle, to see the whole forest and where the road goes. So to see some problem or situation in your life from a bird's perspective, from a much higher perspective, and to solve it. But some crisis might trigger it in this July. But it can be very good, like some change. Crisis is not a bad thing necessarily. Crisis is just change of consciousness that's triggered by some sudden realization. On another level, Pluto from the 6th house, there can be something connected to your health that can trigger that level to a higher awareness and consciousness and commitment to experience new realities, to live life in a different lifestyle as well. To enhance yourself, to self-improve, can be triggered by health problems for some of you, which is the 6th house. It can be triggered by some addiction, or it can be triggered by 6th house's self-medicating habits, but something that gotta give. It's like you're stretched on the cross, it cannot carry anymore. So a big shift is going to happen in lifestyle, in awareness, in consciousness, in health matters, anything connected to some medication or to health or to physical well-being. This can be let's say the thing that tips over. The Pluto is like the pebble in the shoe or whatever, the thing that tips over the other side, so the shift happens. Or the 6th house can be a situation connected to work, or situation connected to 6th house is detoxing in some sort, or connected to purification, or connected to employment. That's another meaning of the 6th house. But it can be just Pluto energy that triggers that, some kind of a psychological deep understanding and transformative realization that triggers the shift of consciousness that we're talking about here. But definitely the changes that you experience in July and into August are on the axis of the 3rd, 9th, and they're fated karmic changes that is high time for them to happen. The universe is not waiting for you to make up your mind anymore. It's pushing it on you because that's the right path for you to walk. They're on the path on this 3rd house, which is with people in your life, like siblings, relatives. Some big changes can be happening in your local environment as well. 9th house, foreign countries, travel, higher knowledge, something to study, to learn, to teach, to spread, or with teacher figures, or your state of consciousness and beliefs. With your career, this is where the fated events can happen. With your work, with your health, with how you take care of your health, with some habits, negative, or that might need to be exterminated, for example, a new positive one to be like the universe is forcing you into. Oh my God, I'm talking too much. Venus is helping the whole process, because Venus is making trine and sextile to the axis of the nodes. The whole time Venus is in your sign. So the whole month Venus, you yourself are stabilizing the situation. You have a lot of say in those decisions, and you're relying on your own kind of, even if there's some crisis situation to be solved, on your own diplomacy, on your own charm, on your own groundedness in reality, let's say. And you can come out of any situation, even if there is some disputes with others, because this is an axis of belief systems, yours and others. These are father figures, these are siblings, for example, if there's some disputes, or these are neighbors, relatives. And if Pluto triggers this, or workmates triggers the sensitive points, and there's arguments, Venus can help smooth through diplomacy, through charm, and turn it for the best, and even make it financially beneficial for you in some way. But that's the other good thing that's helping you the whole month. Venus is in your sign, and it's turning retrograde on the 22nd of July. Will be retrograde the whole August as well, and into September a little bit. But Venus is protecting you in your sign. Even if it's retrograde, it's wonderful to have Venus in your sign. It's making you a bit calmer, more zen, more, Venus is this kind of serotonin energy. If Rahu is dopamine, the North Node, kind of, Venus is serotonin. It's mushroom energy. It's big on LSD energy. It's kind of very zen and cool, and it's loving as well. So you have this kind of energy around you. And charm, and also a lot of Leos will notice that they become more diplomatic, even with the retrograde Venus. When Venus goes, but the whole period till into October while Venus is in your sign, you can become more attractive physically, in appearance. You can start taking better care of your appearance. Your health can improve overall, even with Pluto in the 6th house there, that currently for a month can create some crisis, but it can align you to the right decision. And Venus is a planet of healing, and it's healing your whole sign. Some important Venusian things can be taking place till October in your life: marriage, love, beauty, money. Of course, when Venus goes retrograde, you might be asked to revise some things. Venus rules your 10th house of career. Some professional revisions might happen, or you might be working extra hard on some Venusian project connected to art, to beauty, or connected to the visuals of something, or any kind of career project that you might be working while Venus is retrograde. Because Venus rules your 10th house of career, you might be working extra hard with concerning some career project, or you might be revising, is this the right career path? What should I change? What should I tweak? But Venus is also overall relationships. There might be an important, let's say, re-estimation of relationships. And some of you, fantastic, if Venus is making good aspects from Leo, might be reconnecting with past loves, might take a relationship to the next level, fall deeper in love, and it feels more deep, more loving. If it's making some hard aspects, which again only the personal horoscope can say, there might be examination of, do I want to be in this relationship, this business partnership, this agreement, this contract? Maybe we need to change some of the rules of the game or in our relationship. Maybe we need to reevaluate, of course, especially if you're in relationships that are unfair, unequal. The Venus will correct that, will balance it, either by removing the relationship or changing something there. And there might be some matters concerning finances that you're involved with as well, because Venus is one of the planets of money, that you're deciding during this Venus retrograde, that you're looking for alternative options that you have to cope with and correct and fix in some way. But otherwise, it can be a lot of meetings, revisiting your own loved people from the past, or revisiting or reconnecting and questioning your physical appearance, your beauty, your values, or what you consider valuable, and you can gain a very different perspective about how valuable you are in your own eyes, in the eyes of others. So you can change prices, or you can somehow reframe your valuableness, and that by the end of this period, when Venus turns direct into September, October, you might end up making more money than other times, and so on. Or you might be doing something that requires 3 times more extra effort, which is what a retrograde planet does, till which at the end of the process, it gives you 3 times more Venusian better results, which is either beauty, or which is more healing, or which is more money, or more popularity, or more rewards of material nature as well, or more love, whatever, if it's a love question. Okay, so you, Leo, are probably the most interesting things are happening for you this this whole summer, so enjoy. And some important life decisions will be made while you really want to expand and grow and try new things with the North Node in your 9th house. Thank you. And Venus in the ascendant will make sure you do it with grace and charm, and even if you change your whole life around, that's what a retrograde planet in your ascendant or 1st house does, it will be for good, because Venus is there.